Hey guys, welcome to a night ride vlog. So it's Saturday evening. I think I left the house around 9 o'clock. We're going for a 2-hour ride. We're almost going to enter our first section of off-road trail. It's been really cold, bit of a cold snap, so if you follow me on Instagram, you've seen some of the stupid morning temperatures. It hit minus 30.9 on my Garmin one morning. I'm not really complaining. I've kind of got the clothing thing figured out, so I actually don't mind those mornings. They don't bother me like they used to. The only thing that started getting cold on my ride to work, it was like a 49-minute ride to work. Other thing, when it gets that cold, you slow down. Everything slows down. It becomes harder to maintain a decent average speed. So it took 49 minutes to get to work that day, and my toes were starting to get cold. Just starting. Like, I could have probably rode for another hour in those temps before it started getting dangerous. But now it's slightly starting to warm up. See, tonight's supposed to still be fairly cold. It's supposed to hit minus 20 tonight, but the daytime highs are progressively going to improve, and in the next few days it's going to be above freezing for daytime highs. So that'll be interesting what it's going to do to riding conditions. Most of these side streets are totally hard packed snow, or so hard packed that they're becoming ice. So if you get a warm spell for a few days and it's not warm enough to actually melt at all, it'll get warm and then refreeze, and then all those side streets will become ice. Most of the bike paths on my way to work have such thin snow coverage that a few warm days there'll be exposed pavement, which is good and bad. Your average speed will definitely go up, but there'll still be sections around that'll be ice, so I'll feel the need to still use studded tires, even though the vast majority of what I'm riding on will probably be exposed pavement. Frickin' ice. So we're just going to go, we're going through the LPH trail system, we're going to go into the Centennial Park trail system, we're going to go into the Cascades trail system, probably do some loops in Cascades. Just looking to do a 2-hour ride. I did a 1-hour ride in the late afternoon already, where I did 40 minutes of tempo and some high tempo. 40 minutes worth. One effort was 25 minutes long, and then the next one was 15 minutes long. We're going to start including some harder riding, start building up some harder riding. So yeah, I reached, originally for 2016 I had set the goal of 20,000 kilometers, and realized that's actually a lot of riding. So I lowered it to 15,000 kilometers, which I made, and it took me to the very last day of the year to achieve it. But now I'm like, you know what? We're going for 20,000 kilometers this year. Looking at the winter I did last year, and so what I'm going to try and do is just do the same amount of riding, same volume of riding, January, February, and March as a total. Maybe not the same amount each month, but as a total, those 3 months, the same as I did last year. And then when some actual spring conditions come, then I might start raising my game over what I did last year. Because last year I started really strong in January, and I think I already got some winter burnout by the time February hit. So we don't want that to happen this time. So I'm saying it here now, 20,000 K. That's assuming my life stays the same. Things going on in my life right now theoretically could allow me to do that, but if I have some changes in my life, then that might not be possible. But that's the goal. If you go look at my profile on Strava, that's the number I've set in, 20,000 kilometers. We're at 4 new batteries for my GoPro Hero 3. And unfortunately, I bought the batteries I didn't want to buy, DigiPower. They're the only ones that I can easily find in Canada that's shipped from a Canadian source. I don't want to have to order something through the US. So I got 4 batteries. I got all 4 of them with me today. They're brand new. We'll see how their cold weather performance is. Because it looks like GoPro themselves have stopped manufacturing Hero 3 batteries under the GoPro logo brand. And the packaging that these batteries came with, they had some pretty impressive claims for battery life, even at 1080p, so using the most processing power. So I don't know if these batteries have been upgraded since the last time I bought them, but it's minus 16.5 right now. I don't think they'll have anywhere near what they advertise at these temperatures. They are brand new, so I'm expecting them to at least last an hour each, which should mean we have more batteries than we need. Okay, we got pretty high tire pressure in these tires. I'm gonna stop and let a little bit out. Ride's bumpy. Don't know if you're gonna notice that. You're probably lots of bouncing around on the camera with the chest strap. GoPro now has a new mechanical stabilizer that you can buy, but it only works with the 4 and newer. It doesn't work with the 3, so if I was to get it, I'd also have to buy a new camera, and they're not cheap cameras. You think with all the competition, all the companies making cameras, that prices would go down, but GoPro, I guess, is still marketed themselves as a premium product for a premium price. So the past week we've had a couple dumps of snow. One decent storm with probably about 10 centimeters, and then another snowfall where we got 5-ish. So we've got like 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. So a decent dump of snow, but not tons and tons of snow. Because what happened earlier in the winters, we get snow, but then it would warm up and melt. Get snow, warm up and melt. So we don't have the base that we could have had. That first few snowfalls had stuck around. It's enough snow for a full-on winter riding experience. Yeah, so we got those 2 snowfalls in the past week and a half. But then it got like super cold right afterward. And windy. So on my ride to work, I go through our university property trails and our college property trails. And yeah, both places had plowed. Not for when I rode to work, they were still snow, which was a pain in the ass. But when I went home, they were plowed. But then at night, got so windy, and some sections at both places are beside like these big open spaces. So the wind blows snow onto the trail. And if you They're a fat biker who's dealt with lots of experience. Wind-blown snow drifts are one of the most difficult things to ride through. I don't know how to describe the snow, but fat bikes, even fat bikes don't do all that well in it. Very difficult to ride through. So we had a few days where there was sections where I literally had to get off and push my bike on the trail system because they didn't go back and clean up those messes. City plowed that into a big pile. No thought or care given to people exiting those trails. We got a fat biker, I don't know, coming or leaving. Looks like they're waiting for somebody. First time I seen that, someone, fat biker parked there. Looks like there's a snowmobile been through here. That says city park land, no snowmobiles allowed, so I don't know if that's a city worker who came through here to pack it down or someone illegally riding on the trails. Of course, if they're doing it illegally, they'll come here at night and do it. See, I consider myself lucky that, unlike that guy, I could just ride to these trails. Still, I mean, it's a bit of a jaunt. It took like 20 minutes for us to get to that, the beginning of this trail system here. Pretty nicely warmed up. Ready for whatever they throw at you. So it's reasonably well packed down, but it's not firm. It's just really, the snow we got is really dry, powdery snow, fine grained. It doesn't pack down all that great. And the ride's bumpy because of human footprints. Fat bikers have a parasitic relationship with walkers and hikers. We need them, they don't need us. We need lots of them to come walk in here and pack it all down, because eventually walkers and hikers make the best possible trail. It comes totally hard packed. I can still lower tire pressure, would make things better, but we'll see how it is when we get further in. The main system should have gotten way more foot traffic than this part. Yeah, letting the more air out would make the ride much smoother. So I'm going to do that at the top of this hill. Yeah, I've had people ask me questions on Strava and on YouTube what pressure I use. I don't keep track of tire pressure. I just use what works. I generally set my tires firm at the beginning of the ride, and I'll lower the pressure during the ride until I find what works. I don't keep track of that, what number that is. Snow conditions changing all the time, even if it doesn't snow, because of changes in humidity. Well, we almost wiped out there because I was trying to put my feet in these YNOT straps. Yeah, temperature, humidity, trail usage, conditions are always changing. So what worked one day, 6, 7, 8 hours later, you might want a different tire pressure. So like right away I could feel the improvement in smoothness by that, just letting that little bit of air out, that last stop. So now this is the main, this is the trail that runs up the Current River. Still really bumpy from human footprints. Lots of fat bike tires through here. So yeah, I avoid coming in here in the daytime because there's so many people, so much foot and pedestrian traffic. Generally come in here at night. The city has welcomed fat bikers here in the winter time, and because of us, like I said, there's talk of trail development and talk of trying to groom things for us. Although you do get dirty looks from walkers. Oh, gonna see you guys here in the wintertime too? Yup, better believe it. Keep that dog on a leash. So there's cross-country ski trails in here, but not sure how often they groom it. Like this main part, even if they were to groom in a classic track, it gets destroyed. But the trails deeper in don't see much foot traffic. So the classic track there should be decent. It doesn't get groomed well enough to skate. I guess you could skate this section up the river. So yeah, it's Saturday night, so I think that guy we saw waiting, there's one bike shop here in town that does a Saturday night ride with some of the staff and customers. But I don't shop at that store, so I do a little bit of shopping there. But I don't get invited because I guess because I chosen a different shop as my main shop, I don't get invited as punishment. Of course, I guess I could ask some of them to join me on my rides too, which I don't. But definitely a loner on the bike. I prefer riding alone. A lot of those guys I actually have their cell numbers on my phone, because there's always the, oh hey, we should ride together sometime. Let me get your number. So I got their numbers. Never used them though. And nothing against them, so they're mostly great guys. Good people. But I'm a loner on my bike. And because I don't, well, the other thing is I don't race anymore. So I'm not part of the racing circle. So even in the summertime when they go do a hard Sunday ride, I never get invited. Okay, let me rephrase. That's not true. One of the shops usually did like a Sunday ride at 8 in the morning. And they did text me a few times. But I am not a morning rider. Yeah, I'm on my bike 5 days a week before 7 a.m. on my ride to work. But because of that, on weekends, I don't want to ride early in the morning. I want to be able to sleep in a little bit. And I've kind of always been a afternoon rider. Like, start my ride at 12, noon, 1 o'clock. So they're like, hey, we're meeting there at 8 o'clock. Like, no way. Thanks for the invite, but it's too early for me. So they've stopped inviting me. So I started a club on Strava called Zwift Sucks, and it got, I think, maximum, I think it had 54 members. And it was a club basically for people that do 100% of their riding outside, that make a concerted effort to never have to use a trainer, an indoor trainer, even during the winter months. I call it Zwift Sucks because I have nothing against trainers. I've used them. In my bike racing days I used them. Of course, fat bikes didn't exist then, or it was the very early days of fat bikes. I didn't even know about them, and I worked in a shop, so I probably would have rode outside if fat bike existed then. But anyways, I'm getting off track. So basically, not against trainers, I'm not against Zwift, I'm against virtual kilometers. I'm completely against virtual kilometers and rewarding people with them. They show up on your feed on Strava like they're normal kilometers, like you rode outside, when you took none of the risks of riding outside. And maybe it's not such a big deal when you live in California, or you live in a warm climate where you can ride all year, and the difference in average speed between what you can do outside and inside isn't that different. But where I live, like, look, it's minus 20.3, got snow all around. The true average speed that you can do in the city I live in is going to be 15 to 20k an hour. But when you use Zwift, there's local guys on trainers averaging 30, 35k an hour for an hour, hour and a half, which is not possible outside. So how is it simulating what you can do in the city you live? It doesn't. You live in a climate like I live in and accept Zwift trainer kilometers. That's a totally non-realistic average speed, which you could do where you live for that time of year. It's pure unadulterated cheating, my opinion. Of course, it's not their fault that Strava is set up that way. Maybe some would unaccept the virtual kilometers if they could. But really, the solution is Strava just needs to list them separately. The virtual kilometers separate from real kilometers. So when I go to look at somebody's profile, I can look at their hours, I can look at their real kilometers, and completely ignore their Zwift kilometers. That would be a good solution. And the color for those kilometers should be pink. Nice fair weather pansy color. Yeah, so I started that club. I think we got up to 54 members. And then people that use Zwift started joining. So I made an announcement that starting January 1st, that we only wanted real rides in our activity feed. And if you did trainer or Zwift rides or got virtual kilometers, that you'd be removed from the club. So we've had to manually remove 4 people for Zwifting and doing trainer rides, and I've had 2 people leave on their own. And so when you go to our activity feed, it's just real riding and pictures, beautiful pictures of people riding outside. None of those hilarious Zwift ride photos. So if you're a Strava user and want a club where you won't find any Zwift or trainer rides in the activity feed, join the Zwift Sucks Club. I'll put the link in the video description box, info box. I check the feed a couple times a day. That would make a beautiful pic there. Turn around, take an Instagram photo. So yeah, it's minus 20. I got my phone here in a insulated little neoprene bag. Got her in airplane mode. Hopefully it survived long enough to take all the photos that I want to take. I got smart enough to copy all the tags I want to use ahead of time so I can just paste them into the photo. Alright, man, it's minus 20, but it does not feel that cold at all. I'm going to stop, hold on to this tree to flip into my YNOT pedal straps. There, just took a few seconds to do it. So yeah, I guess I should give a little review. These YNOT pedal straps, so they're probably a 2-inch wide strap, a nylon strap designed to be used with platform pedals, adjustable enough that they can be used with bulky winter boots. And I've been using them now for a couple weeks, and I think they're a good compromise between a very expensive winter cycling shoe and clipless pedals. So they're easy to install. You can, first time you install them, might take you a few minutes, but once you figure them out, you can take them off in like 10 seconds or less. You can probably reinstall them in like a minute, because once you have the strap set up at the length that you want, it's really easy to just remember where it was and set it up there again. So they will do the two most important things compared to riding just platform pedals with shoes. Using these straps will increase your average speed because your foot is held there, and you can get a little bit of up and over pull, much more secure. Don't have to worry about your feet bouncing off, and they will improve your climbing performance, which generally will go hand in hand with increasing your average speed. But if you're doing a ride where you have to get on and off a lot, they might be annoying, but you can just do what I did there, you know, hold on to a tree and flip them up. I didn't even have to use my hands, I just flipped them up like you used to have to do with pedals with straps, and then just slid my foot in. It was easy. But you can just, you know, stand on the one side, the side without the strap, until you get into a scenario where you can try and flip them up. More absolutely beautiful riding. This road here from my house. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the friggin' straps. So they're about 50 bucks. $55 Canadian. And they will improve your pedaling performance. They're easy to install, super easy to remove. So if you had a ride where you knew you didn't want to use them, they come off in seconds. So they get the Crazy Cycling Vlogger, Fat Bike Freaks seal of approval. If that means anything to you. I'll leave a link in the info box to YNOT's page, the company that makes them, and then there's a online company in Canada called Mountain Equipment Co-op. I'll leave the link to the strap on their online store. If you're watching in the States, you might have to do a search to find someone who sells them to you. I don't know if MEC will deliver to the States or if YNOT will deliver to the States. So there is trees down in here. It looks like they've all been removed now. The ones that were left on this trail were all rideable. So it provided a little bit of technicality to your ride. Now they're gone, so that technicality is gone. That will make a beautiful picture there. Oh, here's one of the logs that's still here, getting snow covered now.